Today we're looking at a popular, famous wedding piece that I'm sure you've heard. It's Canon in D by Johann Pachelbel. Like I said, everybody knows this piece, at least by the sound of it. And as I get into summertime, and I'm getting my wedding folder out, this is one that I keep coming back to. And I want to share with you a little bit about what I do with this piece and maybe some ideas for how you can play it also. It's not originally a piano piece, which actually frees us up a little bit. This would be played in the Baroque period by a string quartet or a small orchestra. So we're looking at, different lines of what the cello would play or the violin and how they're building chords. And then we're kind of applying that to piano. So it's not illegal to do that, but I'm not going to be quite as strict as I would be with a Mozart sonata that was written for a keyboard instrument. This gives us a little room for improvisation. So let's talk about that today. Canon in D, we're in the key of D major, so get familiar with that first of all. And we need to start by looking at the cello line or the bass line on the piano. We're beginning with the note D, down a fourth to A, step up to B, here's F sharp, similar, step up to G, down a fourth to D, back to G and step up. And from there, it repeats over and over through the whole song. If you know that line, you can pretty much figure out the rest. D down a fourth to A, B down a fourth, G down a fourth, and then steps up, and then that repeats. If you're a cellist, learn how to play that, and then you've got jobs for the summer. From the bass line, next thing I would think about here is, am I comfortable with these triads? Do I know which notes belong in each chord? So D, let's do this with both hands just so you've got some placement. D major should include D, F sharp, A. Next is A major, similar shape with the sharp in the middle. B minor, F sharp is at the top of that, and F sharp minor is next. So two minor sounds in a row. Look for F sharp and C sharp. Next is G major, that's pretty simple for you, and D major again. Back to G major, back to A major, and like I said, then it repeats. Why don't you take that and see if you can improvise something? See if you can play I don't know. Or how about a bass note and a broken chord? That works just fine. The arrangement that I'm looking at here does something really similar. Bass note, broken chord, but I'm not staying in root position. I'm actually going to invert the chord. So I'm doing a first inversion chord, second inversion, first, second. That's interesting because what's happening when I use those chord inversions is my hand is staying in close position, meaning that I'm not jumping all over the place for finding the chords. I'm finding the closest possible interpretation of each chord. So from here to A, to B, to F sharp. So I'm including all the right notes that we just studied in the root position chords, but I'm rearranging so that I'm not jumping, I'm kind of moving closely from one to the other. Along that same idea, I'm creating a line, which is a great thing. I'm kind of moving in stepwise motion with my top note down the scale. I mentioned strings, violins. You might have a violin line that follows that. Cello, violin, cello. Works just fine. Let me show you one more time with the broken chords that I was mentioning. First inversion, Here's B minor, here's F sharp. So, like I said, learn the chord progression, learn the bass line, and then see where your creativity takes you from there. You can play it shorter or longer, more flashy, less flashy. Like I said, it depends on the situation. So Canon in D, you have to know this one, especially for summertime weddings. Enjoy it.